Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
I'm Michael Burke, and this is Money Talks. Hi, welcome to Money Talks, the Journal Times online business show. I'm your host, Michael Burke, and today we're going to be talking with Dave Blank. Dave, you're the Executive Director and President of Real Racine, the county's tourism bureau.
Yep.
And we're going to be talking about some of the events to look forward to, specifically the ones you guys have created, have put together. By the way, today, for those who may see the show at a different time, today is May 21st, 2013. And we're going to start with an event that actually took place last weekend, just a few days ago, that I thought was interesting. A girls' rugby tournament or championships, right? What was that?
Yeah, it was the U.S. Girls High School Rugby National Championships. And while there's not a lot of rugby in Racine, and no schools in Racine really have rugby teams or rugby clubs, there are several in Milwaukee. And this one came right after the first of the year. We had some people from Racine Area Soccer Association and a couple of people from the Milwaukee area, from Divine Savior Holy Angels, and from Waukesha Catholic Memorial, who have rugby teams and have been involved in this tournament before, and we were trying to find a place in the Milwaukee area for this tournament. And
wait, let me just say, I will confess, I didn't know there was such a thing as girls rugby. This is high school?
Me neither. Yes, it was high school. It's high school. And we had 24 girls teams in from all over the country. I was out there on Saturday afternoon, and I saw Catholic Memorial playing a team from Kent, Washington. And I saw there was a tent there from State College, Pennsylvania, and there was 6 teams from California and a couple teams from Florida. And they were from all over the place.
How did you guys get the event?
They couldn't find another place within their price range in the Milwaukee area. They were looking at Eline Park and some different things. They needed probably about 5 football fields size for the number of teams they had playing. And Rasa, the scoreboard grounds out there is 45 acres. And they were able to actually have this tournament going on while they still had their full slate of weekend Rasa activities out there. There was thousands of people in Franksville this weekend.
Yeah. So roughly how many people came in for the event?
Well, there's probably about 1,000 that came in. Each team brings in somewhere between 50 to 70 people. They all stayed overnight in the area. Even the Milwaukee team stayed in Racine. They stayed for 3 nights, and some were just going back on Monday morning, I understand, at Milwaukee Airport. They were flying out, and it was really something to see. I'd never seen a rugby game, and then, needless to say, a girls' high school game.
Have you gotten feedback from them about the kind of experience and the possibilities of bringing them back, or do they always move it around?
They tend to move things around. Last year, it was held in Palo Alto, California, at the University of Stanford campus. So this is a big time thing. And year before that, it was held someplace in Arizona, I think. There's talk that they're going to be back again next year. I hear operationally the tournament went great, and those
things matter, of course.
That's what matters is that everything flows, and they seem to really like it here, and we'd love to have them back again next May.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the one for this Saturday, May 25th, and I'm going to be giving dates as much as possible, so people, again, depending on when they might see this show, but the Color Run is back for a second year.
Yeah.
I know this one was, it got a lot of attention locally last year, but for those who missed it, describe what the Color Run is.
The Color Run is the world's largest 5K event. And within the last year, they had 1 million people participate in this race at about 70 locations all over the world. Racine is the smallest venue, the smallest city in the world that this is in. And
It's something to brag about,
yeah,
actually.
it's a 5K run. It's 3.1 miles. And it starts at Pershing Park at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. And then every kilometer, 0.6 miles, there's a color zone. And they'll have 4 of those along the route. And there we have volunteers throwing or squirting or somehow or other throwing color on people. And it's colored cornstarch. So it's completely biodegradable. There's nothing wrong with the environment with it.
You start with a white T-shirt?
You start with a white T-shirt, and by the time you're at the end, it's all rainbow colored. And then
What are the colors?
It's blue. They change them up. So I think it's blue, yellow, green, and red or purple.
Oh.
And then at the end of the event, you run your 5 miles, or you can walk it. They have
5 kilometers.
5 kilometers. You have a color throw, and that's where everybody has a packet of colored cornstarch, and they throw it in the air, and that's the famous picture of the run, is it? Because you get this multicolored, just huge haze, and it's really something. They have color throws about every 15 minutes, because of course there'll be people getting in. Some people the race will start between 8 and 9 o'clock for people. That we go about 1,000 people at a time. We're online right now. They have 8,000 runners.
Wow.
Plus friends and relatives that come with them. So we anticipate on Saturday morning we'll have 15,000 people downtown.
Where should people plan on parking?
The color run is actually bought out every parking garage in downtown Racine.
Oh.
And so it'll be free parking in downtown Racine.
Oh, yeah?
The gates will be up.
In the ramps, not on street parking.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of the street parking actually is bought up as part of the route. So they've also paid for the parking meters as well. And so we'll see how that works out the rest of the day after noon when it clears up. But it's we're guiding the people in. 75% of these folks aren't from Racine County, so they probably don't know their way around. We're sending them to the parking ramps and then how to get down to Pershing Park, and hopefully they'll spend some money afterwards.
Yeah, I missed it last year, but I do hope to get down there this year.
It's something to see. It's the color throws at the end, which will be happening probably between, say, 9:15 to 10:30. It will be when the color throws are happening.
Bring a camera, huh?
Bring your camera, but don't let the stuff get in it, because it does find a way to get in electronics.
Oh, yeah, okay. Now, that's a second-year event. We'll talk about a first-year event for you guys this year, sort of a cousin to the color run, and that's the electric run.
The electric run.
You guys announced that just a couple of months ago or something like that, I think it was?
Yep, and the folks that started the electric run are also from Utah, and just like the color run, this is a for-profit corporation. Now, there's thousands of dollars actually being given out to local nonprofits to help volunteer for these events.
Oh.
But the electric run is going to be on August 24th, Saturday, August 24th, 8 p.m. at the Racine County Fairgrounds in Union Grove. And there'll be a 3.1 mile course, 5K, just like the other one. But you go through huge inflated, lit up type contraptions all the way around, and it's a complete sound and light experience. The lighting people and sound people are coming in from Vegas and Los Angeles and places like that. They have about a $250,000 setup, and they'll start. It takes them 3 days to set it all up.
Wow.
But it's going to be, so it's really something to see. If you want to look at it, it's hard to describe. You really have to go on electricrun.com and look at the video there and see what this thing looks like. It's going to be a fun time.
And then it ends with a big dance party.
Yeah, with a big dance party
grandstand.
at the grandstand, and
disc jockey.
Yep, disc jockey, and sound and light spectacular.
And now, is this a spectator event?
You can get in there to see it. Yeah, you can get on.
I hope so, because my story said spectators are welcome and it's free parking.
Yeah, it's free parking. We're hoping for 5,000 people for this one. This is a
Participants,
yeah, rather new event. This is called the Milwaukee Racine Electric Run. It's another one that's in the Milwaukee area, which Racine is, and it's also close to Chicago. So we're expecting, just like we did with the color run, where 75% of the people will be from someplace else.
How many have signed up, do you know?
Last I'd heard, we had about 1,000 signed up, but that was a couple weeks ago already. There's been some big pushes out there on Facebook since that time, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting in the story I did announcing that a couple of months ago. We gave credit to Carrie Dawson, your special events coordinator?
Yeah, special events director. Yeah.
Director, who kind of landed this. And I had a quote, I quoted her something to the effect of, I find events that want to be in Milwaukee and try to get them to come to Racine. And this was a perfect example of that happening, huh?
Yeah, they were looking at big venues. They were looking at Summerfest, they were looking at Miller Park, State Fairgrounds, things like that. And that's where a lot of these things are. When they heard the price tag at some of those places, they said, well, is there someplace else? And that's where she came in and said, hey, we can do this for you. And working with Real Racine, we'll cover some of the costs. And well, what about the Racine County Fairgrounds? They're easy to get to, and it's kind of down toward Chicago a little bit, so we can bring some Chicago folks up, and that's what sold them on it.
I assume Chicago has an electric run?
They do have an electric run, as does Madison. But just like the color run, people, if they do one of these events, they'll go and find another one because they're so much fun to do. They don't call the color run the world's happiest 5K for a reason. It's people are just overjoyed at doing this run, and I'm sure the electric run will be the same way.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a great success. Well, let's run through some of the other events coming up for this summer of 2013. Spike and Splash. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
We've been doing that for a while at the beach. This is our friends at the Extreme Volleyball Professionals, EVP, Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. They've been coming to Racine now for like 8 or 9 years. And 3 years ago, we hooked them up with...
let's clarify, these are the 2-woman or 2-man teams playing on the sand.
This is pro.
So they're good.
They're really good.
Yeah.
This is actually the largest pro beach volleyball tour still in existence in the country. This last weekend, they were down at Tybee Island, Georgia. The week before that, they were in Panama City, Florida. They haven't got up north yet. They're waiting for the weather to warm up like a day like today. And we love working with Ross Balling and his crew, and we'll have about 24 to 30 teams coming in, pro players from all over the country. They're great to watch.
Did we give the dates on that?
That's Father's Day weekend.
Okay.
June 15th and 16th.
Easy way to remember that.
Yeah, and then that's paired with the World Series, or the Grand Prix of Watercross, which is the jet skiers. And these folks have been in town now for 3 years. They hit 80 or 90 miles an hour right off the beach in their watercraft. It's really fun to see. They do heats all day long on Saturday and Sunday, and then they have a big award presentation Sunday afternoon. One thing great for the kids is that at noon each day is the freestyle competition. And to see these guys doing flips and barrel rolls and everything else with jet skis right off the water, right there in the beach area, is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a good photographic event right there.
Now, you had mentioned to me too that North Beach is a big beach, and there's possibly room for another event.
We're looking to pair this up, and in some of their other venues, they've looked at they've worked with everything from bago or cornhole, throwing things, those things to disc golf. So we're seeing what else is out there. We've had beach tennis last couple of years. There's been a beach tennis demonstration going on.
Oh, wow.
So there's other things you can do on the beach. If we have a 50-acre beach, it's one of the biggest beaches around. It just got recertified again for a Blue Wave clean beach. We just got news this last week from Julie Kinzelman. So we want to promote this. This is something that sets Racine apart.
And if you got one of these other events, it would be on that same weekend. So there's just that much more to do down there.
There's more things to do, and there's plenty of room down there. Even on the busiest weekend, there's still plenty of sand left.
Yeah. Let's touch on Ironman. When is that taking place?
Ironman is July 21st. That's a Sunday. And
it's always a Sunday, right?
It's always Sunday. It starts at 7 a.m. The swim is a 1.2 mile swim, a 56 mile bike ride, and then a 13.1 mile run. And it starts at 7. The winner will have done the whole thing by 11, believe it or not.
Wow.
And
these are all professionals, right?
No. We have 2,200 folks coming in, and there's probably usually about 50 in the professional men and women's category. And they're from all over the world. We've had, this last year, I think we had 8 Australians in the race. It was won by a guy from what used to be Eastern Europe. I'm trying to remember what the name of the country was. I know we have a Ukrainian usually in the event, South Africa. They're from all over the world. And this is one of the premier events in the world. There's only 60 of these Ironman 70.3 in the whole world, and we're lucky to have one of them. And they bring lots of friends and relatives with them to help them with the race. And
You mentioned the average household income is pretty high.
yeah, the average household income for triathletes is $170,000.
That's
So
amazing.
it's they're
So when they come here, they're going to go to good restaurants and
good restaurants,
things
and
like
we always enjoy hooking it in with the gallery night that inevitably happens the Saturday night prior, and they love to wander around downtown Racine and hopefully buy some things, and ship some things home on Saturday night prior to the event on Sunday.
Yeah, very nice. The Biggest Loser Run Walk. Talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's coming back again.
Second time, right?
Yeah, second year for that. We had one of the first Biggest Loser events, and this came also because of our success last year with the Color Run. The Color Run kind of opened us up to things like Electric Run, Biggest Loser, things like that. And this is a 5K and a half marathon. And it's a run walk.
Or a half marathon.
Yeah, you don't have to do
Yeah.
both, one or the other. It's really a different kind of race. It's not timed. It's if you've seen the Biggest Loser TV show, we'll have some of the people who won some of the seasons here. And they have such great stories and what they've done since that time to keep the weight off. And this was season 5. It was Jackie and Dan Evans from the Chicago area who won. And since that time, they've started this Biggest Loser race. And it's all over the country now. They probably have 25 events this year, but we were one of the first ones. We had 700 people last year. We're expecting about 2,500 this year.
What kind of people do this? Are these people who are, your typical couch potatoes, or they're reformed couch potatoes, or what?
They're either presently are couch potatoes or recently reformed couch potatoes. This is not an Ironman type race,
Right.
and it's like I say, it's not timed. It's just getting you off the couch, walking, running, just doing something. And the stories out there, you can read it on their website all over the country as far as, just it's gotten people moving, and that's what we need to have happen. We have a healthier lifestyle.
And why do you think it'll be that much bigger this year? Like by
Because the
factor
TV
of-
show's been promoting the fact that there's this Biggest Loser Run Walk
Oh,
series.
okay.
And last year was one of the first events. In addition, the TV show took a season off, as they call it, a season off, and so they weren't promoting these things.
Oh.
But if you go on the biggestloser.com website, you'll see links to biggestloserrunwalk.com.
Oh, okay.
And so it's hooked really close in with the TV series, and that's one of the most popular TV shows in the country, I guess.
And then you finish up with, well, no, maybe not finish up with, but a couple more to mention. Skeleton Scamper is the latest.
Yeah.
And that's been going on for how many years?
This will be the fourth year, I believe, of it, and this year will be at the YMCA in Mount
That's a
Pleasant.
fun one. I covered the very first one, and people came in costumes.
They come in costumes. It's the only costume
Because
5K
did we give the
race.
date?
It's October 26th.
Yeah, so
Saturday, October 26th.
So it ties in with Halloween, obviously.
Yep, 9 o'clock start. And we had about 1,200 people last year. You do either the half marathon or the 5K.
What percent come in costume, would you say?
Oh, probably half of them come in costume.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And it's growing each year because we do have a costume contest at the end of it.
Uh-huh.
There's some really creative costumes. And so it's a way of bringing a lot of people from outside the area again and then introducing them to Mount Pleasant. In this
You do
case.
get a lot of outsiders for
Oh,
that
yeah.
one?
Yeah, most people for all these events will come from outside the area.
And you said that one will start at the suburban YMCA.
Yeah, suburban YMCA. Folks of all ages really come to this one. It's amazing. One thing going back to the Color Run is it's 80% of the people in the Color Run are women ages 18 to 34.
Yeah.
And 75% of the people come from outside Racine County.
Yeah, who would have thunk it?
So we take advantage of this great location. We have 10 million people within 100 miles of us, and we have a huge area to draw from.
And one more we kind of skipped over in the chronological order, but the Power Bike Tour you were going to mention.
Hot Bike Power Tour. That's a sister to the Hot Rod Power Tour. Maybe some people remember that from 2006, 2009 when the Hot Rods came and parked downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the same group we're working with from Indianapolis, and they are bringing in, they're figuring we're going to have 1,000 to 1,500 bikes, primarily Harleys, and it's a 5-city, 5-day tour. It starts in Little Rock, Arkansas, the previous Wednesday, ends up here in Racine Saturday, ends up in Racine here on Wednesday, August 28th. Then some people will come back on the 29th. The 28th is the primary day. It's at Pershing Park. It's free. Come on down, look at the bikes. They'll be in place from Well, the show will open up at noon. They're driving in that day from Indianapolis, so it's quite a hike on a motorcycle. They'll be in place, say, around by 2. It goes into the evening hours, and then there'll be bike parties all over the city. And the next day, remember, is the opening day for the Harley 110th, where they're expecting about 250,000 cyclists in southeastern Wisconsin. So these folks will be blending into that event then, starting at noon on that Thursday.
With the addition of the electric run and this power bike tour, it seems like this is your biggest summer ever for events.
It is our biggest one. It's our biggest schedule we've ever had, and there's no small events on here. These are all major national events that are taking place in Racine.
A lot to choose from, depending if you're just going to be a spectator. A lot of different things, whether you like volleyball or motorcycles or.
Something for everyone there. Yeah. Couch potatoes, we have something for you.
Right, that's right. Well, you've been watching Money Talks. I'm business reporter Michael Burke. We've been with Dave Blank of Real Racine. Thanks to our producer Scott Anderson today. And please remember, Money Talks.